I woke up from a night of chaos, unexpectedly pregnant with my stepbrother's child. I remember my parents urging him to marry during dinner a while ago. He replied, "I already have someone I love." My vision went dark. I was screwed. I had become the other woman. I applied for graduate school abroad overnight, planning to have an abortion and flee the country. While waiting for my number to be called outside the operating room, someone grabbed my wrist. My stepbrother questioned me with a cold, obsessive gaze. "Do you really hate me that much? You'd rather abort the child and leave the country than tell me the truth. Is that it, my dear sister?"
Welcome to listen to my full sweet love series novel. I'm the blogger and I'm Twilight's novel. Now let's start the main story.
My mother married a powerful tycoon from the capital's elite circles in her second marriage. Their romance was passionate, eventually leading to a grand wedding ceremony blessed by everyone. Naturally, I was brought along into the new home. I was only 3 when she remarried, just a little kid who didn't remember anything. I grew up in the Miller family. My stepfather loved my mother deeply and treated me well by extension. I sincerely regarded him as my father and his son as my brother. My brother Austin was very good to me when we were young, but as I grew older, we weren't as close as before. This made me quite sad. Later, I realized that even many biological siblings eventually drift apart. I occasionally felt a sense of loss about it, but that's life. Nothing goes perfectly. Just as I finally managed to accept that I had gone from his dearest little sister to an insignificant relative, the accident happened. I woke up in Austin's bed, my whole body aching. I stared at the ceiling, taking a good while to come to my senses. The chaotic memories of last night came rushing back like a storm. I vaguely remembered someone coaxing me, "Sweetheart, don't cry." There were also some terrible things said. I covered my ears, trying to deceive myself and block out the voices in my memory. But I failed. Even worse, the person beside me noticed I moved and instinctively tightened his embrace. I was pressed against his chest. The man's voice carried a heavy weariness. "Sweetheart, are you awake?" My breath hitched. I didn't dare look up. I was terrified he would find out who I was. Austin had a girlfriend. He said so himself. During dinner at home last weekend, my parents were talking about the neighbor's grandson's 1-month celebration. As they talked, the topic shifted to marriage pressure. Naturally, the pressure fell on the eldest first. Mom asked caringly, "Austin, you're 25 this year. Is there a girl you like?" We were in the living room after dinner. I was slumped on the sofa playing video games, while Dad held Mom. They didn't hide their affection even in front of the kids. Austin replied, "Yes." I had just cleared a level and was watching the end animation, so I looked at him curiously. This brother of mine was handsome, had a good temperament, and came from a top-tier background. Since he was young, many girls had sent him love letters and pursued him. He hadn't been interested in any of them. The Miller family didn't need a business alliance, so the socialites who tried that angle also failed. Who did he like? I blinked. "Austin, who is it? Do I know her?" His gaze swept over me, but he didn't answer. I persisted undeterred. "Who is it? Who's your girlfriend? How did you keep it a secret so well?" Austin suddenly got angry and let out a cold laugh. "Who my girlfriend is has nothing to do with you." I rubbed my nose. Honestly, he was taking his frustration with our parents out on me. I was the punching bag. Siblings really do drift apart as they grow up. He wouldn't even tell me he had a girlfriend. But, never mind who the girlfriend is for a moment. The current problem was that Austin's hands were being very restless. I was buried in his arms, not daring to move an inch. From the current angle, he couldn't see my face. His voice was lazy. "Baby, it's still early." "What do you mean, it's still early?" I froze. He seemed to think I was his girlfriend. Are he and his girlfriend this affectionate every day? If I looked up, it would be over. He hadn't realized yet. Maybe because I didn't speak, he took it as consent. Just as he was about to prop himself up and look at me, I had no choice. I quickly turned around and buried my head in the pillow. A puzzled voice came from above me, followed by a low chuckle. "Do you like it this way?" He leaned down. "Babe, call me brother." "Ah, stop saying that. How can you couples be like this?" I refused to lift my head from the pillow. Austin probably never imagined the person beside him wasn't his girlfriend. He patted my head. "Are you shy?" I muffled my voice. "Go away," he said helplessly. "I'll go prepare lunch. You rest for a bit, sweetheart. I'll wake you up when it's ready." Thud. The door finally closed. Only then did I crawl out from under the covers, staring blankly at my body. I pinched myself, it hurt. It wasn't a dream at all. Austin was outside right now. And I, as his sister, had actually. I only remembered that he and I attended a banquet last night, and there was something in the wine. Both of us drank it. I lost my sanity from the discomfort, and Austin simply mistook me for his girlfriend, calling me sweetheart over and over. And then it turned into this. I covered my face. What should I do? I had to find a way to escape. The kitchen in Austin's place was open plan. If I just walked out, I'd be spotted. While I was hesitating, Austin came back. I heard the door and quickly pulled up the covers. He patted my head through the blanket. "Baby, still shy?" His voice was incredibly gentle. Heavens! Does he always talk to his girlfriend like this? "We're out of Coke. I'm going to buy a bottle to make Coca-Cola chicken wings for you. Don't worry if you can't find me. I'll be right back." Does his girlfriend love Coca-Cola chicken wings too? Well, who doesn't love such delicious food? Wait, put the chicken wings aside for a second. He was heading out. Indeed, when one door closes, another opens. Dear God, you still love me. After hearing Austin leave, I scrambled out of bed. My clothes were torn, so I opened the closet, intending to borrow some of his girlfriend's clothes. But I found that the entire closet was full of men's clothing. Ha! Why isn't there a single piece of women's clothing? Was there a separate walk-in closet? I didn't have time to search, so I just grabbed his shirt and a jacket. Austin was very tall, about 189 centimeters, 20 centimeters taller than me. I looked like a child wearing an adult's clothes, swallowed by the oversized garments. I rolled up the sleeves and pant legs, grabbed the scraps of my dress, and practically crawled out of the house. After walking out of the neighborhood, I let out a long sigh of relief. I finally made it out. Even if Austin discovered it wasn't his girlfriend last night, he definitely wouldn't think it was me. Then I'd be safe. Our sibling bond could still be saved. I found a women's clothing store halfway to change into normal clothes before going home. Back in my own room, I rolled around on my soft bed. I hadn't slept from last night until dawn, and waking up this morning involved more physical activity. My tense nerves finally relaxed. After telling the housekeeper not to disturb me, I slept until the afternoon. Luckily, my parents were traveling abroad, so no one called me for dinner. I rubbed my eyes and went downstairs, planning to ask the maid for something to eat. I looked down and saw Austin standing at the bottom of the stairs. He looked up, his gaze sweeping over me casually. "Awake?" I remembered him saying, "Sweetheart, are you awake?" Followed by 2 hours of physical labor. I instinctively backed away. "Austin?" His gaze was dark and unreadable. I feigned surprise. "Why are you home today?" His knuckles tapped the wooden railing. "What do you think?" "How should I know?" I diverted the subject. "Have you eaten?" "I'm hungry." "If you haven't, tell the kitchen to make an extra portion." He asked me, "Eating only now?" I lied through my teeth without blinking. "Yeah, I realized I missed an assignment after getting home yesterday. I stayed up all night to finish it and slept all day." He gave a half smile. "Doing homework at home last night?" I nodded. "Yes." "All right," Austin said ambiguously. "Let's eat then. My dear sister has been tired all night. She should eat well." Austin didn't usually spend much time at his apartment, but he had moved back home these past few days. I guessed he had a fight with his girlfriend. After all, such a huge instance of cheating would be hard not to notice. I sighed, biting the cap of my pen. I didn't know who my sister-in-law was, but I was sorry. I really didn't do it on purpose. So annoying. I glanced at my unfinished homework. I was a senior now. Maybe I should just go abroad. Living under the same roof, Austin and I were bound to see each other. If I were his girlfriend, I definitely wouldn't be able to stand it. Although Austin didn't know about it yet. I looked up a few foreign universities and applied for graduate school. The admission hadn't come through yet. An accident happened. The kitchen made steamed fish today. I used to love it. But today, for some reason, the smell of it made me want to vomit. Austin put a piece in my bowl. I intended to eat it for the sake of appearances. But as soon as the fish touched my mouth, I couldn't help but gag. Something felt wrong. I suddenly realized that a month and a half had passed since the accident. And in this month and a half, my very punctual period hadn't come. I looked up and suddenly met Austin's eyes. He was looking at me thoughtfully. Feeling sick. I hurriedly tried to cover it up. The fish is too fishy today. He took a bite to taste. I think it's fine. I talked nonsense. Your sense of taste is broken. Austin put down his chopsticks and pulled out a tissue to intimately wipe the corner of my mouth. Is that so? My sense of taste is broken. I thought it was. My sister has morning sickness. My pupils constricted. No way. Was the probability of getting pregnant on the first try really that high? Wait. It wasn't just once. I remembered at least 7 times. How is that possible? I don't even have a boyfriend. I suppressed my racing heart and acted calm. Don't talk nonsense, Austin. Your sister is still a forever single. Okay? To stop him from talking, I put a piece of fish into his bowl. You like fish, so eat more. Don't let it go to waste. I went to give him another piece, but before I could place it in the bowl, he bit the chopsticks. Austin slowly ate the fish and nodded in agreement. It does taste good. Those were my chopsticks. I wanted to get up and change for new ones, but Austin spoke again. Does my sister dislike me that much? It's not a matter of disliking you or not. I reminded him subtly. Austin, you have a girlfriend. A look of sadness actually appeared on his face. Maya, you've grown up and now you hate your brother. You weren't like this when you were little. Austin, I don't hate you. He remained non-committal. I had to bite the bullet and continue using the chopsticks he had bitten. I couldn't help but recall his kisses in the chaotic memories. He had tied my wrists with his tie, pushed me against the wall, and kissed me fiercely. I had no sanity back then either, and we were like 2 stray dogs biting each other, neither letting go. Stop thinking about it. My cheeks and ears were burning. I lowered my head and focused on my food. Austin served me some Coca-Cola chicken wings. Eat slowly, sweetheart. No one's going to take it from you. I didn't listen. Just eat fast and run. I hung up the delivery call and peeked out of my room secretly. Austin hadn't come out of his room. The villa was large, and each bedroom was designed with a small study inside. Austin usually worked in his room. Except for meal times or specific visits, the chance of running into each other wasn't high. After confirming he wasn't in the hallway, I went downstairs like a thief. Who knew that just as I reached halfway down the stairs to the 2nd floor, the housekeeper saw me. She was carrying a bag with a pharmacy logo on it and shouted to me. Miss, your delivery is here. I almost jumped. Don't be so loud. Didn't I tell the delivery guy to leave it in the bushes? How did the housekeeper find it? I hurried down. Taking the delivery from her, I checked the packaging suspiciously, only relaxing after confirming the bag hadn't been tampered with. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, I heard a door open on the 2nd floor. Austin's footsteps were getting closer. If I went back to my room, I'd definitely bump into him. Downstairs it is. After weighing my options, I decided to run, but before I could take a step, the back collar of my pajamas was grabbed. The housekeeper, being perceptive, slipped away. Only he and I were left on the stairs. What did Maya buy? Austin's voice was light and gentle. Oriental Pharmacy? Are you sick? He walked up to me and, seemingly casually but irresistibly, took my bag. The delivery was well sealed. You couldn't see what was inside. Rip. Austin tore the seal. As he opened the bag, he said, Should I take you to the hospital this afternoon? I pressed down on his hand and said desperately, Austin, you can't just touch my things. Don't open it. If you open it, you'll see the pregnancy test. His fingers paused. He looked down at me and let out an imperceptible sigh. He gave the delivery bag back to me and ruffled my hair. Maya, you can tell me no matter what happens. I bit my lip and didn't speak. Well, I definitely can't tell you that I slept with you and now I'm suspected to be pregnant. This is terrible. I sat on the carpet, staring blankly at the 2 lines on the pregnancy test. I fished out the manual and read the instructions carefully. Pregnant. I don't believe it. I threw the pregnancy test away and started searching online for the answer I wanted, deceiving myself. Under a bunch of posts confirming that 2 lines mean pregnancy, I finally found one saying pregnancy tests could have errors. I breathed a sigh of relief. I knew it. It must be fake. I felt a sudden weight lifted and lay back on the bed to sleep. After sleeping for 2 hours, I woke up with a start. Damn it. I had a nightmare. In the dream, Austin's faceless girlfriend found out I was pregnant and came to beat up the other woman. I was beaten up badly. Sob. I got up and searched for nearby hospitals. Better get it checked. I felt like my soul had left my body after getting the prenatal report. The doctor was very experienced and didn't even look up. Do you want the child? I shook my head repeatedly. No. Family planning department, exit and turn left. There were quite a lot of people in the family planning department. I waited for a long time before I could schedule an abortion. Many people here had someone accompanying them. I was all alone, so pitiful. After finishing the appointment, I walked out of the hospital like a sleepwalker. Just then, my phone received a message from someone labeled, Brother. Maya, do you want to eat crawfish? I dithered for a moment. Don't want to. Then how about iron plate squid? No. How about deep-fried potatoes? Sweetheart, I'm at the snack street. I'll bring back whatever you want to eat. I stared at the word, sweetheart, for a long time. I was young when I came to the Miller family. Mom liked to call me sweetheart, and Dad and Austin followed suit. Later, when I grew up, they switched to my name. That term became Mom's exclusive nickname for me. Occasionally, it would slip out of Austin's mouth. I didn't think it was weird before, but he also called his girlfriend that. It felt so awkward. I don't want anything. I have no appetite today. And Austin, can you stop calling me sweetheart? I'm already grown up. The top of the WeChat screen changed to typing. For nearly half a minute before he replied with just one word. Okay. The abortion was scheduled for tomorrow. At dusk, I was enjoying the evening breeze in the yard. The lounge chair swayed, making me sleepy. Drowsily, I felt something touch my lips. I murmured, Austin. I'm here. I turned over. Don't touch me, I'm so sleepy. A man's deep voice asked me, do you want to go back to your room to sleep, sweetheart? I was dying of sleepiness and gave a random answer, yeah. His arms went under my waist and legs, picking me up in a princess carry. I opened my eyes, saw it was Austin holding me, and went back to sleep. In the past, when I fell asleep in the yard, Austin would also carry me back. Since when did he stop carrying me? It seemed to be when I was 19. After a club dinner where I brought Austin along. After that, Austin's attitude toward me became cold. He seemed to stop liking me overnight. Honestly, if I had known, I wouldn't have brought him along. I instinctively hugged his neck. Austin, why don't you like me anymore? His footsteps stopped. Sweetheart, I didn't hear his answer. I was so sleepy that I fell asleep. The next day, I got up, stretched, and went downstairs. Austin was rarely in the living room. He was looking at some piece of paper. I saw him and greeted him. Good morning, Austin. Austin gave a soft put the paper aside and said, come and eat. I shook my head. I'm not eating. No food or water before a painless abortion. I needed anesthesia. He glanced at me but didn't insist on me eating breakfast. Going out. I nodded. In a bit. Austin didn't ask where I was going, but instead asked, is there anything Maya wants to tell me? I was stunned for a moment. Huh? Not really. He tucked a stray hair behind my ear. Really? I thought for a moment. Oh, wait. I plan to go abroad for graduate school. Can you give me some advice? Where do you think is better? Austin didn't speak for a long time. I felt strange and looked up, meeting his deep eyes. His gaze was obscure. Going abroad? Yeah, aren't I graduating soon? He interrupted me. Stay in the country. You didn't think about going abroad before. That was before. Before, I thought going abroad meant an unfamiliar environment, and I'm not someone who likes moving. But didn't an accident happen? I couldn't stay in the country and live under the same roof as Austin, making his girlfriend uncomfortable, could I? They didn't know what happened, but I cared. Speaking of which, Austin, who is your girlfriend? How come I've never seen her? His social media was clean, and I hadn't seen him post anything related to the opposite sex elsewhere, let alone bring someone home. Austin leaned closer to me. You have seen her. We were already close. As Austin moved forward, the distance between us vanished in an instant. I smelled the faint scent of petit grain from his body. I had no time to ponder his claim that, I've seen her. At this moment, I could only feel his breath grazing the tip of my nose as he leaned down. It tickled. Austin's Adam's apple moved, his voice low and raspy. Does baby really want to know? My pupils constricted, and I fled in a panic. No, I don't. I grabbed my bag and ran without looking back. Something was wrong. If I didn't run, I felt like something disastrous was about to happen. I sat in the hospital corridor waiting for the surgery. My mind a chaotic mess. One moment, it was the memory of Austin's heavy breathing in my ear calling me sweetheart on that accidental night. The next, it was back at the dinner table when my parents were urging him to marry, and he replied, I already have someone I love. The images shifted from his empty closet to the living room this morning. Amidst that thick, ambiguous tension, he had asked if I really wanted to know who his girlfriend was. Ugh. Even if I were the world's biggest fool, I could see something was off. The person he loved. It couldn't be me, could it? I covered my face. I was his sister. The surgery queue had moved to the person 2 numbers ahead of me. It was almost my turn. I gripped my skirt tightly, paralyzed with indecision. The light above the operating room flickered, and the person before me went in. Distraught, I kept turning my phone on and off, over and over. Austin hadn't sent me a single message. I touched my belly. The embryo was too small. I couldn't feel the legendary fetal movement at all. I stood up, took a deep breath, and decided to go to the restroom to splash some water on my face. As the cold water hit my skin, I finally calmed down. Whatever. I've waited in line for so long. I'm going through with it. Who knows if Austin was lying or not? Resolute, I walked out of the ladies' room, but before I could take 2 steps, I was pinned against the wall. The next second, someone cupped the back of my head and kissed me forcefully. My eyes flew wide open. Austin was staring at me intensely, like a wolf targeting its prey. His kiss was clumsy. There was no technique, only a relentless, territorial invasion. I tried to push him away, but he only pressed me tighter into his embrace. I could barely breathe. The corners of my eyes grew wet with physiological tears. I let out a soft whimper. Austin, be gentle. He let go of me, and just as I caught my breath, he pressed down on me again. His thumb pressed hard against the corner of my eye, and my tears began to fall. Seeing me cry didn't make him stop. Instead, he became even more aggressive. A voice announced over the intercom in the distance. It was my turn for the surgery. Austin carried me to a deserted corner and simply refused to let me go. I was kissed until I lost all strength, leaning limply against his chest. He finally deigned to release me. His voice was laced with lingering desire, incredibly alluring. You're going to miss your surgery. His fingertips traced my face inch by inch, from my eyes down to my chin. You'd rather abort the child than tell me the truth. Is that it, my dear sister? He suddenly pinched my chin. Sweetheart, tell me, what kind of punishment do you want? My brain was still a muddle. I wasn't fully conscious yet. But I still remembered. You're the one who said I'm your sister. I'm not your girlfriend, so why aren't I allowed to have the abortion? He was the one who told me first that I was just a sister. Why was he acting like this now? The more I thought about it, the more wronged I felt, and I began to sob. As I cried, an old man passed by and saw Austin holding me while I wept. He tried to comfort me. Little girl, what illness is making you cry so hard? Oh dear, don't be afraid, illnesses can be cured. My crying stopped instantly. I forgot I was in a hospital. Even deserted corners have people passing by. I wiped my tears. It's nothing, thank you, Grandpa. I tugged at Austin's sleeve. Let's talk at home. The old man was still concerned, As long as you're okay. Don't be sad, little girl. I nodded, thanking him for his kindness. Thank you, Grandpa. Back in the car, we finally entered a private domain. The driver raised the partition, separating the front and back seats into 2 spaces. Austin forcefully pulled me onto his lap. My struggles were futile, and that feeling of being wronged surged up again. Austin kissed away my tears. He wasn't harsh anymore, comforting me softly. Give me a kiss, sweetheart, don't cry. I turned my head away and ignored him. Austin deduced what I was agonizing over from my earlier words. He wrapped his arms around my waist. Maya, I don't have a girlfriend. The person I love is you. I sniffled. But you were the one who said I was your sister. He said that to me when I was 16. Austin had a perfect face. He was objectively handsome. And he was very good to me. In high school, when he dropped me off at school or occasionally ate with me, it always caused a stir. My deskmate asked me, "Who's the handsome guy you're eating with?" I bit my pen cap. My brother. Your biological brother? I wrote a square root sign on my exercise sheet and answered without looking up. No, stepbrother. We're a blended family. Up until that moment, I didn't have any special thoughts about Austin. Then, my wicked deskmate shared her treasured novel with me. The title ended with 1v1, pseudo-incest. I felt something was off back then. I read novels too, but few would label themselves 1v1 in the title. That night, out of curiosity, I opened the file. From then on, my world was opened. When people aren't mature, they are very easily influenced. For instance, the next day, I started feeling like something was off whenever I looked at Austin. Once that feeling took root, I began to observe him more closely. Well, his hands were very beautiful, with distinct knuckles and long, slender fingers. He had 8-pack abs. When he worked out in the gym and accidentally lifted the hem of his shirt, his perfect lean muscles came into view. When he taught me how to solve problems and looked down at me, his eyelashes were like butterflies fluttering their wings. Austin's gaze was very gentle. Do you understand? He had been talking about auxiliary lines and parabolas. I didn't understand any of it. I was too busy observing him. I lowered my head. No. Austin explained it to me again. I still didn't get it. This time, my head was full of his pleasant voice. Deep and magnetic. I'm definitely a voice lover. Got it now? Do one for me to see. Me. I couldn't do it. I stared blankly at the problem on the exam paper. Austin reminded me, focus, don't daydream. I'll explain it one last time. If you still don't get it, your allowance for this week is gone. I perked up. For the sake of my allowance, I finally started working. With a half-baked understanding, I finished half the problem, but couldn't get the whole thing. I felt dejected. Austin ruffled my hair. Sweetheart, you did great. Don't be discouraged. The problem was just too hard. Oh no. Stop calling me sweetheart. My head was full of bad thoughts. Austin was 4 years older than me, and since I couldn't hide my feelings, my strange behavior was transparent to him. One weekend, after I finished my homework, he took me out to play. We went to the city's amusement park. After playing like crazy, Austin bought me balloons and stuffed animals that only kids would want. I don't know what I was thinking, but I asked him on a whim, Austin, why are you so good to me? Austin seemed to be waiting for that question. He answered, Maya is my sister. In my eyes, you've always been that little girl who hasn't grown up. If I'm not good to you, who should I be good to? At the time, I felt something was slightly off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. That night, I discovered someone had touched my phone. I could tell they hadn't pried into my privacy, but they had deleted one thing from my phone. That novel with the suffix, 1v1, pseudo-incest. I buried my face in my blanket. I didn't need to guess who did it. My thoughts about Austin flickered on and off for a year. Later, the pressure of senior year was so great that I had no time for nonsense. In my eyes, Austin during my senior year wasn't a brother or a fantasy object. He was a very useful, free tutor. Nothing was more important than studying. With that buffer, I met all kinds of people in college and matured. I wouldn't be influenced by a single novel anymore. I finally returned to my proper place and started treating him as a brother again. But then, Austin suddenly stopped talking to me. The reason was likely that club bonding event. During a game, I drew a dare. The dare was to say, "I love you," to the first person of the opposite sex on my left. The first person of the opposite sex on my left was Austin. Since it was a club event and everyone was on good terms, we had all met each other's family and friends a few times. The dare wasn't too outrageous. If I didn't do it and chose the punishment of drinking bitter melon juice instead, it would look like I was hiding something. The club members knew Austin was my brother, and some teased, "Maya, you're so lucky to draw the person on your left. I wanted to see you say it to the person on your right." The person on my right was the club president. The president laughed and scolded, "Piss off, you just want to see the drama." Everyone looked at me. For some reason, I suddenly became very nervous. That strange high school crush experience resurfaced in my heart. Under everyone's gaze, I said to Austin, "I love you." Austin replied, "I love you too. You, sibling affection is so boring. I want to see a sea of hate and passion." Everyone moved on to the next round. But I stared blankly at Austin's profile. Austin turned his head. "Sister, focus on the game." He called me sister again. He rarely called me that. I bundled up my messy thoughts and tucked them away, continuing to be his good little sister. And then, the accident happened. If I didn't have some special feelings, I would have broken down crying seeing myself sleeping with my brother. How could I have tried to hide it like I did? I only just realized that those messy thoughts since high school had been suppressed only to resurface again and again. I thought they had quieted down, but they hadn't. But Austin said he had a girlfriend, so I should just be a sister. By the time the car reached home, I had just finished crying, and he had spent half the time coaxing me with, "Sweetheart this and baby that." My tears had stopped, but my eyes were still red and swollen. When the car stopped, I tried to scramble out of his arms to run, but he held my hand. I couldn't escape. Damn it. He was the one who wanted me to be a sister, and now he was the one who wanted me to have the baby. Having a baby? Is that what a sister is supposed to do? I was unhappy and didn't want to talk to him, heading straight into the house. And then, before I could see clearly, I was pulled into an embrace. It wasn't Austin holding me this time. I was surrounded by softness. "Baby, Mommy's back. Did you miss me?" I blinked. "Mom?" My parents had been away on a trip for a while. After traveling for 2 months, they were finally home. I hugged Mom tightly. "Wah, Mom. You have no idea what has happened these past 2 months." Mom observed me. "Baby, you've lost weight." Me. "Not really. I've gained 2 pounds. "Oh my." Mom gasped. "Baby, why are your eyes so red? Have you just been crying?" She let go of me and took 2 steps back. She turned and asked Austin, "Austin, who bullied your sister? Why has she been crying until her eyes are red?" Austin didn't blink. "I did." "Mom?" He pressed on, dropping a bombshell without warning. "Maya is pregnant. The child is mine." "Mom?" "Dad, arriving late?" My parents were furious. Especially Dad. He looked like he wanted to beat Austin up. I stepped in to stop him. I whispered, "Weren't you two urging us to marry a while ago? Now both your children's marriages are settled. Isn't that a surprise?" Now Dad looked like he wanted to beat me up too. I hid behind Mom. "Mom, save me." I wasn't beaten by Dad, but I was about to be beaten by Mom. Lord help me. Fortunately, as highly educated parents, they were reasonable and didn't actually hit us. Mom cornered me to ask what happened. I stammered, "We just got drunk, and then it was an accident." Dad said coldly, "Drunk? A man who's truly drunk has no capability." Austin nodded in agreement. "Correct." Me. "What are you agreeing with?" Austin didn't have a girlfriend, so there was no way he could have mistaken me for someone else. He knew it was me from the very beginning. The only person who was drunk and drugged and out of their mind that day was me. And when I lost my mind, my fantasy object was also him. I had clung to him, calling him brother over and over. "Austin, why don't you like me? Austin, kiss me. Austin, I feel bad." And then things spiraled out of control. I covered my ears. Stop asking, stop asking. Parents don't need to know such specific details about their kids. Arg. Mom knew I was shy, so she didn't push me further. She sighed. I won't ask any more. Baby, I only have one question. Were you both willing? Austin answered without thinking. Yes. I bit my lip, glanced at him as he knelt on the floor at Dad's command, and answered softly. Hum. Mom ruffled my hair. Then be together. Your parents aren't old-fashioned. You two can legally get a marriage certificate. We can't be bigger than the law. I breathed a sigh of relief after she spoke. Mom asked again. Baby is pregnant? She hugged me. How did this happen, pregnant before marriage? It's my fault for not teaching you about these things. In the end, Austin still got a beating. Not because we were together but because I was pregnant. Austin was sitting, and I was helping him apply ointment. He wrapped his arms around my waist and buried his face against my stomach. Dad hadn't held back. There were red welts from the cane. I stroked his injuries. Does it hurt? Logically, I should have been beaten too. Our family has a clean reputation. Dating, marriage, and children should follow a process, and now it was all backward. Since I was pregnant and couldn't be hit, Dad hit Austin even harder. I thought, given Austin's personality, he would say it didn't hurt. He hadn't even cried when he broke his leg before. But now he said, it hurts. I thought for a moment and kissed the red marks on his back. Then if I kiss it, it won't hurt anymore. Kisses were very effective. As everyone knows, things that are too effective can be addictive. Austin made me kiss him again and again. Finally, for some reason, the corners of his eyes turned red. Sweetheart, kiss here too. Me. It hurts. He showed his weakness. It hurts from missing you. I pushed him away. Don't even think about it. He sighed with regret. All right. Austin picked me up and carried me to the bed. Then I'll just kiss the baby. I buried myself in his arms to calm down. Austin stroked my back rhythmically. Are you okay, baby? Do you want more kisses? I shook my head. No, I'm tired. He held me, his chin resting on the top of my head. Rest well, sweetheart. Go to sleep. This was the first time I shared a bed with him while fully conscious. Austin closed his eyes. The way he looked when he slept peacefully was very soft. There was no edge to him at all. He looked exactly like the brother in my memory. In reality, his personality wasn't that great. Austin's employees were terrified of him. Even when he used to come to school to find me, my classmates had seen him. Everyone seemed to have a kind of fear of him. The him in others' words and the him in my eyes were completely different. I found a comfortable spot in his arms and asked softly, Austin, when did you start liking me? I thought he was asleep and didn't expect an answer. To my surprise, he tightened his embrace. I don't know. Bad brother. He didn't even know that. I realized I liked you 3 years ago. 3 years ago. It was that time, the club's dare activity. I said to Austin, I love you. And he replied, I love you too. My pregnancy caused my parents a lot of worry. A wedding definitely couldn't be done casually. A non-casual wedding took a long time to prepare. Fortunately, our family was wealthy. There was nothing that couldn't be achieved with money. If there was, it just meant not enough was being spent. The invitations were sent out, and the wedding was set for 3 months later. The wedding dress size had extra room reserved for my pregnancy weight gain. But there was a small surprise. While other people's bellies got round during pregnancy, mine showed no sign of change. Even at 4 months pregnant, my stomach was still flat. Austin was worried and kept a very close eye on me. Luckily, every prenatal checkup came back normal, but he still couldn't quite relax. When she received my invitation, my high school deskmate was shocked. Image. The photo she sent was of the invitation, with the names of the bride and groom circled. Bride. Maya Leong. I know this part, that's you. But Maya, could you please explain what the groom line means? I curled my lip. It's Austin Miller. Are you illiterate now? Unbelievable. Her. Maya, my dear Maya. If I remember correctly, isn't your brother's name Austin Miller? I tapped the keyboard. It's him. Holy crap, you freaking. She didn't follow up. A few minutes later, she sent a file. It looked very familiar. The suffix was 1v1, pseudo-incest. Do you still remember this? Me. I didn't want to talk to her anymore. I secretly opened the file to take a peek. Before I could read a few pages,